Winnie the Pooh best friend sleepover. Comfortable, Piglet? Winnie the Pooh asked as he tucked his friend into a drawer he had made into a bed. Oh, yes, Pooh, thank you ever so much, Piglet replied. The bed is just the right size. Well, good night then, the bear said, blowing out the candle and climbing into bed. Good night, Pooh Bear, Piglet replied. He and Pooh were having a best friend sleepover. It had been lots of fun so far. First, they had enjoyed a before bedtime snack. Then, they had put on their pajamas and made up a story. Of course, it was always fun spending time with Pooh, but there was something about being here for bedtime that was so different from being at his own house, thought Piglet. As he lay in the drawer, his eyes wide open, Piglet noticed that it seemed much darker here than it did at home. Pooh, he called out softly. Are you still awake? He wanted to ask the bear if it was always so dark. When Pooh did not answer, Piglet realized that his friend must have fallen asleep. Oh, well, Piglet thought as he rolled over and pulled up the covers. Then he closed his eyes tightly and tried to get to sleep. After a while, Piglet peered out into the darkness. He hadn't been able to fall asleep yet. He noticed that it was very quiet in Pooh's room, much quieter than it was in Piglet's own room at night. Pooh, Pooh Bear, Piglet called out, a little louder this time. He didn't want to wake up his friend, but he wondered if perhaps Pooh was awake and had just not heard him earlier. Just then, the quiet was broken by a peculiar noise. Piglet sat up. At first, the noise was a soft, low rumbling curiously similar to the sound of a sleeping bear who was snoring. But Piglet thought a heffalump was coming to get them. Pooh! Oh, dear! Piglet shouted. He jumped out of the drawer and ran to his friend's bedside. He shook Pooh and shouted, Wake up! Wake up! Oh, pee-pee please! Pee-pee Pooh! Pooh asked drowsily. Slowly, he climbed out of bed. He noticed Piglet wasn't in his drawer. Then he realized that Piglet was in his own bed. Listen to that horrible NN noise, Pooh, he stammered. Piglet listened for the noise so he could point it out to Pooh, then realized that it had stopped. That's funny, said Piglet as he peeked out from under the covers. The noise stopped as soon as you woke up. The bear said, yawning. I guess that means we can go back to sleep. Piglet didn't think he'd be able to fall asleep. I don't mean to be a bad best friend, he said. But do you think we might have the rest of our best friend sleepover some other night? I'm just not used to sleeping anywhere but my own house. Pooh sat on the bed and put his arm around Piglet. I understand, he said. We can have the rest of our best friend sleepover whenever you like. Pooh helped Piglet gather his things. Then, hand in hand, they walked through the wood to Piglet's house. Here you are, Piglet, Pooh said as they entered. Home, sweet home. Thank you so much for walking me here, Piglet replied. I suppose you'll be needing to get home to bed now? Pooh thought for a moment. Yes, but first I might sit down for a little rest. He eyed a comfortable chair, just for a few minutes. While Piglet unpacked, Pooh sat down and put up his feet. Then he decided to rest his eyes, just for a moment. His eyelids felt awfully heavy. By the time Piglet finished, Pooh was fast asleep. He was even making a soft, rumbling sound. But in the comfort of Piglet's own house, it did not sound scary like a heffalump. It just sounded like a sleeping bear who was snoring. Piglet covered Pooh with a small blanket and slipped a pillow under his head. Sweet dreams, Pooh Bear, he whispered. Then Piglet climbed into his bed and very quickly drifted off to sleep. Pooh and Piglet slept all night. The next morning, Piglet woke up and saw that his friend was still asleep. He woke up Pooh gently, and they had a yummy breakfast. It had been a wonderful best friend sleepover after all.